Hi, this is the first video of the channel that represents me, so middle class, trying so hard to actually make this video in not my mother tongue, but still. So, as one among being the middle class, I've realized that only hard work and studies will bring prosperity, that is, money. I thought I thought why not start the video with something I really feel from the heart. That is that is something I'm really fond of, which is reading. And this is the habit I have developed lately. Lately as in 1 year back. So the first video has the topic which I actually made a little drawing of. Novel hash book recommendation by me, and if you don't want to watch the video regarding my recommendations, so please go ahead and skip the video, turn to something more interesting. I'm actually super anxious while recording this video because everybody in my house is just sleeping, and I'm actually thinking of making this video secretly, so don't mind if I be too much anxious or my voice seems to be a little stupid during the video. So let's start. The reason why I chose this topic, that is book recommendation, is because me being very weird in front of people and in general, I've realized that somehow books help me in at least speaking something or getting insight, which was actually difficult for me to get through my parents, because from studying actually I've realized that they have what we call the stereotypical thinking, and whatever I see or when I meet people out of this environment, they are complete opposite. So to solve this dichotomy, I I didn't actually thought of reading novels, but the moment I found this book, I thought, why not give it it is the reading habit a chance and see how it goes. And I actually found out that it's actually a quite interesting hobby to actually read a novel or see a good documentary on Netflix rather than wasting time. Though wasting time is another topic to be discussed, but let's start this video and see what are the recommendations by the so middle class girl. I think it would help you, and I would give a little brief on the book that I've understood. Maybe my understanding differs from yours, so if you want to, you're willing to comment your interpretation of the book, and I'll keep it very short in 1-2 lines, because these are the books that I've read over the past year. So I may have forgotten a little, or I would explain it as good as I can in those 2-3 sentences as I can. So let's start. The first book that helped me a lot, and it was the first book that actually blew my mind, was this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it is blowing as in there are certain topics which this book covers that we think are very basic, but yet these are settled in our subconscious and make us feel miserable about the ordinary life that we have. So please read this book, and maybe you'll get a little of uh, perspective of the flawed conceptions that we hold of very basic things. So please read this. it is among the must reads that I'm going to list in this video. This second book after this is the second, not the second version, but the second book by the same author, Mr. Mark Mason, is Everything is Bugged. And it was, I thought, a better version of his first book, and he's actually progressed as a writer while writing this book, because as a reader I see the change, or I see the growth in his writing. Please don't mind my anxious voice, because literally the name of the channel is The Middle Class, and as a middle class struggling with the second language and speaking it, at least even in this empty room when I'm trying to speak it, I'm feeling a little anxious while even recording this. Nobody is watching me, yet I feel so vulnerable while speaking English, though it has never occurred to my mind that while I'll be recording this video, I'll be so anxious. Coming back to the topic, this book, why this book is so interesting is that it deals with the basic topic, nihilism, that is the existential crisis that we have during this time. So it not only deals with nihilism, but certain topics that are very simple yet so profound, and he explains it. There is no order in this book that he follows, yet he covers the basic topic like in his first book, but the depth of understanding he has now, or he explains it in a more profound and detailed way. So this is also a must read. The third among the list is the book Outliers, The Story of Success by Malcolm Gladwell. I love this book. I love this book because it is not because it is very interesting, but it actually what this book does is it tells you a story. It tells you a story like a normal inspirational movie, that see, this person has fought all the odds and became an outlier. But no, Malcolm Gladwell on the other hand tells that he was successful because of this reason. He was successful, the major players are successful because they had a family who had an upbringing. At least they had an upbringing to be outspoken, so they taught their children to be outspoken or to be very hardworking, or at least they provided an environment where the outlier had the infrastructure or all the facilities or the resources that are necessary for him, no, notwithstanding the fact that they were very hardworking. They took the opportunity when it was presented, but at the same time, when the opportunity was presented, only because of the fact that because of their lineage helping them to succeed. The fourth among the list would be by an Indian author, Asura. This was actually my first ebook that I've purchased, that I had purchased, and it is like it was a change in my perspective on how I saw Ramayana. It was a change in the lenses. It was the story of Ravana. Though foreign people call our mythological characters with an extra A, this is the story of Ravan. He's actually telling a story through a imaginative character that the author have designed, but it is actually about Ravan and how he wasn't the protagonist, but how he wasn't the antagonist, but the protagonist in the story. It is the narrative, the narration, the narrative of the story has changed. It is the same events though occurred, but the narrative behind it has changed. So please read it. You will have a not a better understanding, but a perspective that though event has occurred, but Due to change in narration, a protagonist could become an antagonist, or an antagonist could become a protagonist. The last book I would recommend is by Mr. Srijan Pal Singh. Srijan Pal Singh. The story is about Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the Missile Man. I think every book that gives the story of Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam must be read. Must be read because of the personality he was. He was always uplifting people, is what I got from this book. I am telling you, I'm a very weird person. I was not into studying at all, but these books actually give me insight that I should learn more and more. And the reason I'm not elaborating even a little bit about this book is because I've not studied it throughout. I've just had excerpts from different chapters. But this book is actually about Abdul Kalam requesting Mr. Srijan Pal Singh, who assisted him as in his preparation of debates and speeches, and Mr. Srijan Pal Singh himself, being an IIM topper, helped him. And this was the line that Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam gave him, that what can you give, after he won a gold medal in his university, being IIM, that is the epitome of postgraduate study in finance. But the story revolves around being Srijan Pal Singh being the narrator about Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, in the lessons that he taught him during his during the period in which he served our president, our ex-president, sorry. And thank you for watching this video, and I would love to share more book recommendation. If I read one, I would definitely share. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you. Please like it.